The ballroom looked like something out of a movie. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting soft golden light across polished marble floors. Tables were arranged with perfect symmetry, each one decorated with white orchids and glassware that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. This wasn't just a charity gala. This was a room full of people who didn't worry about money. People who donated it, or controlled it, or pretended to. I had been invited, technically, but not in the way most people there had. My name wasn't printed on the guest list in bold letters. No one at the entrance greeted me with recognition, because the invitation I held didn't come with status. It came with anonymity. I chose a table near the back, not hidden, just quiet. From there, I could see everything without being seen. The servers moved efficiently between tables, balancing trays of champagne and carefully plated food. Conversations flowed easily around me. Business deals disguised as small talk, laughter that sounded just a little too practiced. I picked up my glass of water and took a small sip. I didn't need champagne. Not tonight. Tonight, I was here for something else. I noticed her before she noticed me. She stood near the center of the room, surrounded by a small circle of people who were clearly enjoying her attention. Elegant dress, perfect posture, the kind of confidence that comes from always being in the right rooms. And standing beside her was someone I recognized, my ex. He looked exactly the same. Same smile, same effortless charm, the kind that makes people trust you before they know you. For a moment, something in my chest tightened. Not pain, not regret, just recognition of a life that no longer belonged to me. Then she turned and saw me. It took her less than 5 seconds to decide who I was, or rather, who she thought I was. Her eyes moved quickly. My dress, my seat, my glass of water instead of champagne. A silent checklist. And just like that, she made her decision. She walked toward me, slow, confident, certain. I didn't move. I didn't look away. I simply waited. "Excuse me," she said, stopping beside my table. Her voice was soft, polished, controlled, but there was something underneath it, something sharp. She held out her empty champagne glass toward me, not offering it, not asking, just expecting. "Be a dear," she whispered, leaning slightly closer, "and get me a refill." I looked at the glass, then at her, and for a moment, the entire room seemed to go quiet. Not literally, but in that way where everything around you fades just enough for one moment to become very clear. "Service worker," she added quietly, her lips forming a small smile. "Some of us actually belong here." I didn't react. I didn't argue. I didn't correct her. Instead, I smiled. Small, polite, controlled. Because moments like this don't need immediate answers. They need timing. And timing was already on my side. She waited, just long enough to see if I would take the glass. I didn't. So she placed it on the table in front of me. A decision. A statement. Then she turned and walked away. Back to her group. Back to her world. Back to the man who used to be part of mine. Across the room, my ex had seen the interaction. Of course he had. He always noticed things like that. For a second, our eyes met. And in that second, I saw something familiar. Recognition. Followed quickly by something else. Relief. Because he believed the same thing she did. That I didn't belong there. I picked up the glass she left behind. Not to serve it, just to move it aside. Then I checked the time on my phone. 8:50. 10 minutes. The lights dimmed slightly as a voice echoed through the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, if we could have your attention." Conversations softened. Chairs shifted. The entire room turned toward the stage. I stayed seated. For now. Tonight, the host continued. We celebrate not just generosity, but impact. Polite applause. Expected. Routine. Before we continue, we'd like to recognize a very special contribution made to this foundation. A pause. The kind designed to build anticipation. A donation that will change the future of this organization. More attention now. People leaned forward slightly. Curious. Interested. Invested. I looked across the room one last time. At her. At him. At the table where they sat. Still confident. Still certain of their place in the world. Then I stood up. Slowly. Calmly. And began walking toward the stage. At first, no one noticed. Then a few heads turned. Then more. Because the woman in the simple black dress, the one sitting quietly at the back, wasn't supposed to be walking forward. My ex's expression changed first. Confusion. Then realization. Then something deeper. Something heavier. Her reaction came a second later. Eyes narrowing. Trying to understand what she was seeing. Trying to correct the version of reality she had already decided was true. I reached the steps, paused for just a moment, then walked up. The lights adjusted. The room fell completely silent, and the host stepped aside, smiling, waiting. I took my place at the center of the stage, looked out across the room, and found her, still sitting there, still holding her glass. But no longer certain, I leaned slightly toward the microphone and said the first words that changed everything. Good evening. My voice carried easily across the room. Clear, calm, unhurried. The kind of voice that doesn't ask for attention. It assumes it. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was focused. Because now everyone was looking at me. Not past me. Not through me. At me. I know most of you don't recognize me, I continued. A few quiet laughs moved through the audience. Light, polite, comfortable. They thought this was part of the program. An introduction, a formality. I wasn't on the guest list in the way you're used to, I added. That shifted something. Subtle, but real. People started listening differently, trying to understand, trying to place me. But tonight, I said, pausing just long enough, I'm not here as a guest. The room stilled again. Tonight, I'm here as the donor behind the $5 million contribution you just heard about. The silence that followed wasn't polite anymore. It was absolute. You could feel it. The shift. Like the entire room had taken one step back at the same time. Eyes widened. Postures changed. Whispers died before they could form, because suddenly, everything they thought they understood about the room had changed. I didn't rush. Moments like this don't need speed. They need space. I chose to remain anonymous, I continued, because I wanted to see something. Now they leaned in, curiosity pulling them forward. I wanted to see how people treat others when they believe no one important is watching. That landed. You could feel it. Not everyone understood why, but a few people did. And those few began looking around the room differently. My eyes moved across the tables. Slow, measured, until they stopped. On her. She sat completely still now, the glass still in her hand, but no longer confident, no longer certain. Her expression had changed into something else. Recognition. Not of who I was before, but of what she had just done. And tonight, I said softly, I learned exactly what I needed to know. The words weren't loud, but they didn't need to be, because they weren't meant for the entire room, just one person in it. My ex shifted in his seat. He looked down, then back up, then away again, because he understood too. Maybe not everything, but enough. Enough to realize that the version of me he had remembered no longer existed. I turned back to the audience. The foundation you're supporting tonight does incredible work, I continued. It creates opportunities for people who are overlooked, underestimated, or dismissed. A few heads nodded. Now they were listening carefully, professionally, respectfully. And I believe in that mission, I said. That's why I gave. I paused, let the moment settle, then added one more line. But I also believe something else. The room held its breath. Character matters more than status. No applause this time, just silence. Because some statements don't invite reaction. They invite reflection. I stepped back slightly from the microphone. The speech was done. Simple, controlled, complete. No need for more. Because the message had already landed exactly where it needed to. The applause came slowly at first, then stronger, then louder. People stood. Not all of them, but enough. Enough to shift the room completely. I stepped down from the stage and walked back through the same room I had entered quietly an hour earlier. But now, there was nothing quiet about it. People moved out of the way. Eyes followed. Conversations paused. Because now they knew. As I passed their table, I stopped. Just for a moment. Not long. Just enough. She looked up at me. Her confidence was gone, replaced by something far more honest. Uncertainty. I'm sorry, she said quietly. The words were real, but late. I gave her a small, polite smile. The same one she had seen earlier. The one she misunderstood. Then I spoke. Calm. Simple. You're not sorry for what you did. She froze. You're sorry you were wrong about who I was. Her lips parted slightly. No answer came. Because there wasn't one. I turned slightly toward him. My ex. He didn't meet my eyes this time. Because some people don't avoid eye contact out of pride. They avoid it out of understanding. Take care, I said. Not as a warning. Not as a threat. Just as a closing. Then I walked past them. Out of the ballroom. Into the night air. Cool. Quiet. Real. Because in the end, it was never about proving who I was. It was about showing something much simpler. That the way people treat others when they think it doesn't matter is exactly what defines them. And by the time they realize the truth, it's already too late to change it.